Imagine a winter morning in Delhi where the sky is actually blue, or a school bus stop in Gurugram where children are waiting without masks. The scientific finish line for that environment is an annual PM 2.5 average of 5 micrograms per cubic meter. That is the World Health Organization's safety guideline and the threshold where health damage plateaus. Hitting that number is rare. Last year, only 14% of cities worldwide managed to stay under that limit. We see this standard in places like Reykjavik, Iceland, where North Atlantic winds keep the annual average between 3 and 5 micrograms. It is also possible in dense urban centers. Seattle manages to hold its annual average between 7 and 9, proving large cities maintain safe levels. Breathing safe air in a metropolis is a reality. Other nations have already reached this destination. Then there is the physical reality of the air in India today. Of the world's 25 most polluted cities, almost all of them sit in South Asia, and India is currently home to 3 of the top 4. This chart compares the safe WHO limit against India's current readings. While the WHO draws the line at 5, Gurgaon sits at 91, Delhi averages 105, and Byrnihat reaches 126. These cities take in 18 to 25 times the safe limit, year-round. The gap between India's current reality and the WHO destination is massive, and closing it requires a significant window of time. In December 1952, a 5-day coal fog trapped over London killed thousands of people. The wealthiest cities on Earth once choked on lethal smog. That disaster forced the British government to pass the Clean Air Act, regulating fuels and emissions. Over the following decades, fine particulate matter dropped by 85%. That transformation took a 50-year arc of continuous legislation, slowly evolving from the 1950s to modern ultra-low emission zones. Catastrophic pollution can be reversed. In January 2013, Beijing experienced the airpocalypse, where daily PM 2.5 levels spiked near 900. The Chinese government responded with a coordinated action plan, cutting coal use by 97% and enforcing regional compliance. In just 11 years, fine particulates plummeted by nearly 66%, clearing the skies over the city. The record shows that cleaning a national air supply is a solvable problem, but it is a process that requires decades of systemic action. India has started its own transition. Under the National Clean Air Program, the country has expanded its network to over 1,500 monitoring stations. Over the last 5 years, Delhi's annual PM 2.5 levels have dropped by 17%. But when we extrapolate this pace forward, it will realistically take 25 to 40 years for that trendline to reach the WHO safety standard. This presents a biological problem. Human lung capacity develops from birth to 18 years of age. That window is unchangeable. It opens and closes long before the country's pollution projection line hits the safe zone. India's air will eventually be clean, but the children alive today will finish growing into adults while the outdoor air is still dangerous to breathe. When public infrastructure operates on a multi-decade timeline, households have to adjust. We already do this with water. Urban families haven't waited 50 years for the government to fix tap water. They installed ROs and filters to build the utility themselves. When public infrastructure lags behind health requirements, private households step in to build a temporary bridge. That same logic applies to the air. The household air purifier is the next evolution of that bridge. A fresh air system pulls outdoor air through a medical-grade HEPA filter. This creates positive pressure inside, which pushes stale air and trapped carbon dioxide out through the natural gaps in the home seams. For the 10 to 14 hours a day your family spends inside, they are breathing air as clean as Reykjavik. Air is now entering the same category as water, a managed utility that a family maintains for itself because the biology cannot wait for the outdoor environment to catch up. When Delhi reaches WHO levels 40 years from now, the children of today will be adults. Where they spent those 40 years and what they breathed indoors will determine the health they take with them.